Ross Mack is a Wharton-educated entrepreneur, TV personality, best-selling author on a mission to democratize financial education. He built his foundation on Wall Street at firms like Morgan Stanley, GCM Grosvenor, managing over $75 billion in alternative assets before turning that expertise towards the people the financial industry has traditionally left behind. He launched Macconomics, a content series that blends finance with culture to make money accessible and relatable, and it has grown into a full production company with partnerships at Revolt TV, BET, Complex, and The Street. You may have seen him most recently as a featured voice in the Netflix documentary, Get Smart with Money. Please welcome my friend and fellow Penn alum, Ross Mack.
This is awesome. How y'all doing? It's a very beautiful room. Congratulations to you guys. True story, I just got off a flight from Chicago. I thought, oh, we got Chicago in the building? Chi City, what's happening? South Side in the building? All right, Whitney Young in the building? All right, I love it. True story, I genuinely thought I was coming for a fireside chat, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. I come in, I say, who's interviewing me? She's like, anybody interviewing you? She's like, you ain't got a presentation? I say, nah. But that's what life is, right? Sometimes you're prepared for one thing, but no, I want you to understand something. That's what's interesting about what's about to occur. I have absolutely nothing prepared. However, watch this. However, that's what life is. Sometimes you have to just go with the flow, right? You get ready to have y'all sophomore, juniors, you're getting ready to have your last internship before you can go back to school with a full-time offer. Nothing better than going back to your senior year with a full-time offer. You're getting that exit round interview, and they throw you a curveball. You got to go with the flow, right? You can't say, wait a minute, I didn't prepare for that. Instead, we have to go with the flow. And so you guys don't know me. My name is Ross Mack, and one of the things that I wanted to do was bring Wall Street to Main Street. You guys are getting great internships. How many of you guys are interested in climbing up the corporate ladder? I love it. I'm here to tell you that I was also interested in climbing up the corporate ladder, but when I got to a point, I decided I wanted to actually jump off the ladder and build my own. So I'm an actual entrepreneur, right? I'm a person from the South Side of Chicago, and what I wanted to do was find a way to bring Wall Street to Main Street, to democratize access to financial literacy. I have probably the most unconventional way into my entrepreneurship journeys as probably any other person that would have came up here, right? My background, I'm from the South Side of Chicago, but I also rapped. I would be going to my job, GCM Grosvenor, we manage over $75 billion. They manage like $90 billion now. We're going to my job. On my team, we manage maybe $20 billion. I was on the credit team. And while I'm on the way to work, I hear my music on the radio. And I'm like, okay, I can't really go in here and try to fake the funk while also trying to be a rapper, right? I done went on tour with T.I. I had songs with 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞. I got songs on NBA 2K, HBO. Oh, yeah, it's awesome. I'm decent. $, Ross Mack, $, listen later. But I say this all to say, right? Sometimes you have to understand where you are and make sure that you're leveraging every room you're in. Because when you look to your left and right, when I was in your shoes, I will assure you I did everything wrong, which was trying to network up. Right after this, there's going to be a mixer. I know you guys going to Dave & Buster's, so bear with me. I'm like, oh, tough act. What are they doing after this? Oh, Dave & Buster's. Oh, so they probably don't want to sit here and listen to me, right? But when you go to Dave & Buster's, the average thing a person's going to do in an internship program is what? You want to go try to, especially when you start your internship, you're going to want to do one thing, right? Let me find somebody a little older. Hey, I'd love to take you out to coffee, right? Oh, could I get on your calendar? I love to pick your brain. I want to know how you became a VP, how you became an ED. And one thing I will always tell you is make sure that you network across just as much as you try to network up. Because when you look at this room in exactly 5 to 10 years from now, each and every one of you guys are going to be in an interesting seat where you are now going to be a decision maker. Where I got in my life is purely because of the relationships that I built across. Yeah, I went to Penn, Wharton, Morgan Stanley. I did everything good on the resume side, but there came a point in time where I was able to now pick up the phone and call somebody. Hey, bro, you work at Spotify now. I'm trying to get my music playlisted. Can't help you with that, but I got somebody else that you could talk to. Okay. So I'm a little older than y'all, but like playlisting back in the day, you get on Rap Caviar, you golden, right? That's like elite. But what I was able to do was have different conversations that put me in different rooms. And so as I'm making music, right, I had a woman that was pseudo-managing me. She told me like, okay, your moniker is the Wall Street rapper. What the hell does that mean? This is, before COVID, this is like 2015, right? So nobody truly could tell you what the Wall Street rapper meant. So she was like, why don't you tell people what Wall Street is? So I started making content. So while I'm working, while I'm working, as I'm rapping, I started making content. And the idea was like, I want to be an urban Jim Cramer, urban Dave Ramsey, right? So before there was TikTok, before there was IGTVs that gave you 60 seconds, right? I mean, more than 60 seconds, right? IGTV. I would try to make content that was literally 59 seconds. And the funny part about it was I have to make you laugh, then entertain you, and then call to action, go listen to my new song, right? And so what I said, okay, let me take the Tyler Perry approach. Let me make you laugh, then have a hard-hitting reason to make you want to lean in and get it, right? So now I have a person calling, hey, Ross Mack, man, I'm from the Pork and Bean Projects, and I just, came up on some money. I'm trying to flip it. What should I do? Boom, I got 35 seconds to answer that. Well, man, you should probably diversify, pay down your debt, build an emergency fund, S&P 500, right? But what started to happen was I started to build a brand where that brand ended up having legs of its own. Now, when we talk about relationships, I have a buddy that just left a top music publication. It was called Hip Hop DX at the time. Then he went over to Revolt. He's like, dude, we love that. Can we start posting it? And mind you, this is like 2018, right? I'm like, yeah, definitely post it. Because now I'm trying to get more followers. Let's do it, right? Now, at this point in time, I'm a full entrepreneur. I've invested. Obviously, I'm trading in the stock market. I invest in a restaurant. I got this and that going on, throwing events, etc. But that right there was a relationship. That relationship was, hey, I work here and I believe in you. I want my community, AKA Revolt's audience, to start seeing some of your content. That led to a lot of it going organic, and then maybe a month or two later, they said, hey, we want to start paying you. We want to start licensing you for your content. I'll say, for sure, let's go. Look up, I'm getting paid to do something I was already doing. Mind you, the call to action, I want people to go listen to my music, right? Fast forward, that ends up getting real legs. One thing leads to another, right? I'm doing stuff with BET, with Complex. Then I get a call, maybe an email. Hey, we want you to look at this show we're building. It's, they wouldn't tell me it was Netflix. They just said it's a large streaming company. We're looking to do a financial literacy show where you're working with a person. I said, okay, cool. I interviewed. They were like, we love you. And then one of my other relationships, I was able to bring in a person that at the time was playing in the NFL. He played for the Chicago Bears. Once again, another relationship, right? So I was doing a podcast at the time, and I was then able to have probably the best storyline. How many people have heard of Get Smart with Money? All right, there we go, a few of y'all. Y'all watch that when y'all go home. It's dope. Netflix and chill, you know what I'm saying? Survive. But the one thing that I really want to hit home is to understand the power of relationships. When I told you I went on tour with T.I., my buddy was now running marketing at Coors Light, or was it Pepsi? Well, it was Coors Light, actually. Pepsi, Coors Light, but it was for sure Coors Light. He's like, yo, we need an opener. Boom, I went on like a 5-city HBCU tour, right? I also was throwing events, and as a result of throwing events, right, you just start meeting a lot of people. You know about digital marketing, experiential marketing. You're working with a lot of top brands, right? And so when you take a step back, one of the biggest things you're gonna do is find a way to leverage the connects that you have. Like right now, I'm 36 years old, right? I have a show on Yahoo Finance currently called Real Money. You can subscribe, podcast, etc. But when I look back, I say, okay, what's next for me? And right now, I'm in the midst of building out a AI-powered financial wellness B2B platform, right? Software where I will go into corporations and say, hey, I can find a way to minimize your employee stress, increase productivity by giving them this utensil, right? This tool. And they like, okay, for sure. I'm pitching big companies. But I say that to say one of my buddies runs a VC company. He's like, oh, bro, just get in our incubator, right? Just, we're going to give you access to this, that. You're going to start out probably a solopreneur. And from there, you're going to find a way to, people just start believing in you, right? No matter what you do. And I really want you guys to understand that when we talk about, climbing the corporate ladder, it's one thing to just continue to say to yourself, I want to keep the main thing the main thing. And that is that while you're in this seat, maximize it and leverage it to the fullest. When I was at Morgan Stanley, I interned at Morgan Stanley. So I wasn't an SEO. Hopefully my kids in SEO. Shameless plug, put my kids in. I don't know who to talk to, right? Because it's remarkable. I wholeheartedly definitely understand that this is a phenomenal seat, but I want you to understand that while you're in your seat, this is just a stepping stone to where you're ultimately going to go. And right now, you probably don't know where you want to go, right? I stumbled into finance. I was trying to go to a party on Penn's campus, and they was like, bro, let's stop in Huntsman. I'm like, all right, for sure. Morgan Stanley recruit, mind you, this freshman year, so there's no cap in this. So it's freshman year, I'm trying to go to a party, right? Nobody's thinking of an internship your freshman year. It was a job fair, an OCR, but it was a little different. So I go up, boom. They yo, apply. I applied, knocked it out the park, and instantly, so I literally, my entire summer, similar to you guys, but I didn't know about SEO at the time. But once again, I want to come back wholeheartedly and just really push on the idea of what relationships can do, because relationships are going to truly open doors for you that you're not even in the rooms, right? I'd say the true testament to a good friend or a good mentor is they're talking about you in a pleasant way in rooms that you're not in rooms that you're not in, right? You guys are, once again, right? As an intern, the idea is just to do well, ask good questions, and ultimately get the offer. But after you get the offer, that's when the real world starts, right? And as a person that I worked at Morgan Stanley for 3 years before going to a fund in Chicago, when you're in that seat, it's very hard to kind of really see where life is going to go, right? The average person, when I asked who's trying to climb the corporate ladder, you pretty much got to have tunnel vision, right? And I do believe that as I look at a lot of my peers that were in my analyst class, I see some of them got funds of their own, and I'm like, okay, bro, snapping. But then you ask yourself, what's your true passion? For me, it was a little bit of entertainment, but ultimately, while I was at Grosvenor, I realized something. Once again, I'm from Chicago, the south side of Chicago, and when I got to Morgan Stanley, I was the first black guy on that desk. I was on the high yield sales and trading desk. Don't sound too normal, right? 2012, first black guy, but I was. And then I did 3 years there, and then I went to GTM Grosvenor, and this was the biggest eye-opening because while you're in SEO seats and while you're in your internship, everybody's gonna continue to have blinders on, tunnel vision, keep your head down, right? Ask the right questions so that you are trying to make a good impression. But while I came back to Penn, I realized a lot of people that looked like me weren't exposed to the same rooms and conversations that I was in. And I realized that what you're exposed to is truly gonna determine your success, truly gonna determine your whole frame of reference of what success is and what money is, right? The idea of going to your desk at the age of 22, or even as an intern, 21, and this is a trading floor, and your MD or your ED is looking at their 401k and you see $2 million and he's just rebalancing stuff. So now you get to ask the question, wait, what you doing, bro? Because if I ask my mom, hey, I got this thing called a 401k, what should I do with it? And she yeah, just max it out. Mom, I'm an intern. Should I really max out? And so you come to a point where your parents are you come to a point where maybe you can't ask your parents for advice. And so that's why it's really important to look to your left and right. But once again, right? I told you guys I'm fresh off a plane, and I remember sitting in these type of seats, and what I want to do is we talked about the corporate ladder, and I talked to you guys about jumping off, and I'm not saying anyone should jump off, but if there's anybody that's interested in entrepreneurship, right, I want to just let you know that it ain't easy, right? I always tell people the best way to become a good entrepreneur is to leverage and maximize your 9 to 5 so that you could take that structure and still work, right? So you work 9 to 5. Obviously, we all know you guys don't work 9 to 5, but it's just the saying, right? Because when I worked at Morgan Stanley, I worked 6:30 to 6:30 because I was on the trading floor. But the idea is you work your 9 to 5 so that you could still prepare and work on your other business from 6 to 8. So once again, I got nothing prepared, and I have been talking, but I would love to have a dialogue. If there are any questions, right? Like for me, I want to be y'all big cousin at the barbecue, not the drunk uncle, just the big cousin, right? I saw something that went viral. Technically, I'm Unc now, and it messed me up a little bit. I didn't know I was Unc. I thought I was Big Brother now. But let's have some fun.
Hi, thank you so much for speaking with us today. My name is Heather Rao. I'm a rising junior in Howard University. I'm studying at
HU?
No. So, I'm like super passionate about going into commercial real estate. I'm also a licensed DC real estate agent, but I'm most passionate about entrepreneurship and building something for myself. On the side, I also do freestyle, like not rap. I'm a poet, and I was like a multi-million view like social media poet, and I ended up shutting out my whole account because I felt like it was gonna limit how far I could go in corporate. Like it could mess up like with interviews because some of the poems I would make would be a little bit controversial, sometimes low-key dissing corporate, and so I stopped that part of my passion. I also was a self-published author, and it was just a big part of my life that I kind of had to sacrifice in order to, I feel like, climb the corporate ladder. And like you said, I want to leverage corporate as a tool and a resource to get that network to then pivot into entrepreneurship full time. But how did you balance your passion for rap and then also showing up to Wall Street and climbing that corporate ladder to an extent?
I love the question, right? And I want to give the caveat, right? Like, you're 20 years old, I'm 36 now, right? And so I would guess, right? At the time, I was being very honest. I was the first black guy on my desk. So for me, it was very crucial for me not to make us look bad at that time. So, oh, this guy just want to be a rapper, right? I was trying to keep my head down. And so at that time, social media was, you had Instagram, but it wasn't like I had a hard time trying to balance that, trying to market something while simultaneously show up and actually execute and get promoted and all that type of stuff. And I will say now it's much easier. I do believe that there are people that work corporate that can have a social media following, right? You get, what's my dog name? Who's CEO of Goldman? What's that name? David Solomon, he a DJ, right? He be DJing, am I lying? So he EDM DJ, so you know what I mean? That's a whole different type of DJ. I mean, he be out there. And so I say that to say that I think it has become a lot easier to balance kind of that work-life balance. Like, when I was at Wall Street, there was no such thing as you can maximize. Well, I'm sorry, when I was interning and working, you couldn't truly say, oh, you can only work this amount. But what I will say is I think you have to find that balance. What I will say is that as I started to get a lot of different corporate partnerships as an entrepreneur, one of the things that I did, because there was a point in time when I was like, okay, I can be myself, right? Because I knew the CEO of the fund that I ended up going. And I'm on the radio in Chicago. I'm touring, like I'm on NBA 2K and, different. I'm on shows on Outer Banks, and I got a song on there or something. What ended up happening was you get a little more comfortable, but you're more cognizant of what you're talking about. Because at the end of the day, you still are a brand, right? I know you look like, oh, well, 50 Cent was an X this, and Jay-Z was this, but they get really big brand deals, but it was like they were only known for this. And so I think the ability to live in both worlds is a fine line, but for me, it was like understanding kind of where I was. I knew I wasn't gonna be the next Drake, so I found my niche, which was getting sync and licensing, which means I'm getting my music in Showtime, HBO, this and that. And so you find a way to get paid. But what I will say, I think now is a little easier to balance it. And I think that you should continue to have your passions. I think it's something to talk about. Great question. I hope that helps. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hi, my name is Norman. I'm at George Washington. I'm going to be studying or working.
GW.
I'm going to be working at JP Morgan. You're somebody who has excelled in many areas, not just business, as you said, music, as well as entrepreneurship. What are some of the common threads you've seen that have allowed you to be successful through all of them?
I love it. And I'm going to be honest. I hate the notion when I go on social media that people think working a job is like bad, right? Like, y'all, the younger people, obviously y'all don't think that, but like younger people like, oh, everybody should be an entrepreneur. I think that's idiotic, right? At the end of the day, you need an infrastructure, you need a foundation. And so the answer to your question, I'll say I'm much more successful as an entrepreneur than I was a musician, but I had some foundation and an infrastructure to think of myself as a brand, as a Coca-Cola, by understanding how a Morgan Stanley works, for instance, understanding how SEO works. And so I think the ability to work a real job in a rigorous structure and knowing kind of what it takes to move up the corporate ladder, I think that is what kind of helped propel me to think about my businesses, right? I have a big wealth summit this summer to the Chicago shorties. Y'all gonna be interning, but it's at the end of August. I don't know if the internship's over. Y'all all get a free ticket. I'm having it at the Obama Center, end of August. If y'all in town, just had Jasmine hit me. So when I think of something like that, it's a 3-day summit. Now I look at this and say, okay, what is the brand, what is the product? Now I'm business development. I wear a lot of hats though. So now I'm BD. So I'm now trying to get sponsors. Now I'm trying to get talent, who's gonna procure talent so that they can speak. But on top of that, and then it's like operations and this. And so when you think about anything you're doing, you have to understand that while working in a corporation, it is the best foundation in the world because it now allows you to think about everything, right? Like you say you're gonna go work at JP Morgan, right? Jamie Dimon, that's my dog. I had to sit down with him. It's my guy, real talk. And he's one of the most powerful people in America, in the world. And when you think of what the JP Morgan Chase name is, right, it's so big. Got the commercial bank, the investment bank. It has all these other entities, but it all comes to one thing, right? And what that overall brand is. And so whatever you're doing and whatever you're building, you got to think of it the exact same way. No, great question. Oh, we got, perfect. I'm just getting the water, by the way. These little bitty waters, by the way.
Hi, my name's Taryn Paul. I go to the University of Rhode Island, and I'm gonna intern at SMBC. You touched a little bit on how you managed the overall workload, but I don't know if everyone else here did. I definitely had to sign a non-compete and privacy agreement, especially IP, and you seem kind of stratified in what you do versus what you did, but I'd be interested to know like a little more about managing the image and also managing if you ever had any difficulties with IP or privacy or anything or image, and how you dealt with that.
So just keep the mic because I want to understand the question, right? So you have an internship and they're saying your intellectual property, anything that you make in these next 10 weeks, they still own, correct? Okay. That didn't, IP's always existed, right? You know, trademark, patent law, and all that stuff. At the time, that wasn't something that they even thought of. However, I will say that, you know, I think whatever you create, you know, whether you're at home or there, you should start thinking, fun fact, I didn't know what I was gonna talk about, so what did I do? I talked to my best friend, Claude. Hey, Claude. ChatGPT was lacking. I don't know what the hell they was telling me. So, hey, Chat, you tweak it. Claude, I'm about to go out here and talk to some 20-year-olds. They got all good jobs, and I'm sure everything you know about me, give me some strong talking points. I didn't really get much time to look at it, but I say that all in to say, like, intellectual property in this day and age is very gray area, right? But I can't truly answer that question because I don't even, like, what are you doing there? Like, what, like, are you building, like, what are you building there?
I'm gonna work in trading, sales and trading, rotate through.
So they think you're gonna build some some algorithmic trading platform, and if you build it there, they own it? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it also translates to full-time too, which I think is probably the bigger.
I could assure, one, I hope you build the dopest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I think that, I think you're not gonna have an issue with it though. Just me personally thinking, I don't think you'll have an issue with it, right? I think you have the ability to come up with things and, you know, maybe you practice, back test it on crypto instead of whatever you're trading, right? Equities or whatever, right? And find a way. But is your ultimate goal trying to build something that ultimately you want to own and keep?
I've toyed with the idea. I think I like the freedom of owning your own business.
So how long is the non-compete?
1 to 2 years.
Yeah. So what you can do now, right, and you're a junior?
First semester senior.
All right, I mean, I will holler at a lawyer if this is something that's really big, but you could literally start, no. You could just start a company right now. You can start an LLC right now.
Yeah.
And own a trademark for that, get an actual patent lawyer, own a trademark, another IP for what this idea is, and you already have it before you actually start working there full time. Not a lawyer, but
Yeah.
you could also ask my homie Claude. You wanna, I got his number. He could tell you, that's my guy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for talking today. I'm Yara. I currently go to Swarthmore College, and I'll be interning at JPMorgan Chase this summer. And you talked so much about relationships and like having a diversified network. So I wanted to know like how you diversified your network and like what spaces that you put yourself in to meet so many different people. Like I know certainly we have like our college communities, like SEO communities, but what other things did you do to diversify your network?
You want the real answer? I threw parties. I threw parties at Penn. I threw parties when I moved here. I had a house in Harlem where we ended up getting kicked out. We have 150 people at the house every weekend. And that ended up going into my best friend and I, Jay. We literally started a experiential marketing firm to the point where it was like pretty big. We would operate in a lot of different cities at the same time, from LA to Chicago, Philly, DC, Miami. There's stuff at South by Southwest, right? And we actually stopped. The last year was like All-Star 2020, COVID. All-Star was in Chicago, and that was like our last party. But that was for me, right? That's not for everyone. But I will say, right, because the party, you get a lot of different characters that come in a party. This is already filtered, right? If you look at the top of the funnel, and you're trying to find the type of people that have similar interests in you, this is the bottom of the funnel, right? These are your people, but I would say similar at your school and at your job. But I really, and I wholeheartally believe this, that the people to your left and right are gonna be in big decision-making roles within 7 years. And they can, whatever it is, right? Like my oldest kid is 5, but if my kid needed a job right now, they'll get one with 1 call. And I would only make 2 calls because the first person's in the meeting, he didn't answer.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm a rising senior at Brown, and I'll be interning at JPMorgan Chase in Chicago.
Oh.
You talked a lot about the importance of relationships and connections. I've made a lot of valuable relationships throughout these past few years, but at times I struggle with maintaining them. Can you talk about how you maintained a lot of the relationships that you leaned on 5 to 10 years in the future, and how we can also follow and do the same?
Relationships sometimes is in a unilateral agreement, right? Like sometimes you have to add more value than you get in return. But that paradigm tends to shift at different times, right? And so everybody's life be lifing, right? We know that saying, and you ain't got time to be talking to a person every day and FaceTiming. But the idea of being a genuine person, they'll always remember that, right? And so I hadn't spoke to Jasmine in probably a year or 2, but the last time we talked, it's nothing but love, right? And she was like, yo, by the way, I think you would be dope to talk at SEO. And those are the type of genuine relationships life is gonna always offer. It's about what is your friendship credit score, right? You got low credit, you 400-500, or you got that 850, perfect. And it's really, that's what I look at it, right? It's like, how are you finding a way to still be genuine to people? I have an issue that if a person don't like me, I'm trying to understand why. Damn, what the hell I do? Right? Like, don't nobody not like me, right? And so, like, that's the type of person I am, and I think that is what it is. But, like, also, like, if you were to follow me on social media, my energy is educating the world. Every day, nonstop, I'm giving free information on, hey, guys, do this, invest in that. Hey, if you got kids, add them as an authorized user and do this. So, like, this is So like my entire brand is educating the world. So for me, it's a little easier, but not saying that it's not easy for you, but I just say, just be genuine and, you know, find ways to offer value. Like one thing people love is somebody that's trying to help them. In the back. This worked out okay, huh? She told me, whatever you do, don't embarrass me. I said, okay, I hope not.
Hi, Ross. My name is Bradley 𝐃𝐨𝐬𝐿. I'm a rising junior at UMass Amherst, and I'll be interning at Cerberus Capital Management. And my question to you was, you did mention that you're building an AI incubator, and I'm also in the process of building my own. What brought you into that sector, and what would you consider success?
Unicorn exit.
Excuse me?
Just, you ask me a question, you say, would it be success? A unicorn exit, $1 billion exit. But no, so what, I told you what my passion is, right? I go around, I do a lot of speaking engagements, and the vast majority of my content is about helping people. And what I realize is that sometimes, perfect. I told you guys I got off the plane. I didn't know what I thought I was having a fireside chat, but life be life, and so it ain't nothing. I can move, right? I feel confident. So I say that to say, right, I'm a black guy that preach financial literacy, and I have a lot of brands that I partner with. You name it, I've partnered with it, right? Partnered with them, that's in the financial space. We have a new administration in. DEI effectively is a bad word. And as a result, I saw some volatility in my income. Certain partners that I had, potentially, right, and I'm talking TV show shit, TV show stuff, right? And as a result, you're like, okay, I normally would have already signed a contract with this person by now, okay. So boom, the answer to your question is the ability to pivot. So it's one thing for me to have a business that I'm dependent on someone to say, oh, we have a budget, now let's shoot this series, right? I won a Telly Award last year, right? Oh, let's shoot this, no. I want to own it all. So instead, I want to have the software where now I don't have to truly be dependent on if this company has a budget and this network wants to run it, right? Oh, Complex and Uber, right? Or, you know, State Farm and Revolt, or right, BET and Fidelity, or Yahoo Finance, and I own the software, and now I know how to pitch it. I built it. I hired a software team, and then once again, my cousin Claude came in. Now I'm Claude coding. I'm building it out myself. And so I think the idea is having a business that solves a problem. Hopefully, right, I come back and then I'll be like, I'm a tech founder and we got that exit. But I think ultimately the idea is, you know, so I do a lot of stuff, right? But one, working with corporations, but the niche that I think I'm gonna really own is working with like college athletes in the NIL space. And so that's the one thing. I want all athletic directors to have my software for their athletes. I do a lot of speaking engagement with athletes as well. Like I said, at Netflix, I'm working with an NFL player, but like I got a partnership with McDonald's where I'm the person talking to the McDonald All-Americans. I come in and tell them what to do, right? And so for me, I think that's what the software, but a success is partnering with more companies and universities. And then ultimately, you know, on the foundation side, we work with schools, but we need $1 billion unicorn stuff. You next, because you right here. And you was giving me some attention. Someone, I ain't gonna say no name, somebody asked a question. I thought I saw them nodding off early.
Hi, Ross. Thank you so much for making the time today and being here with us. My name is Nana Oduranyanning. I'm a rising senior at UNC, interning at Goldman Sachs this summer on the trading floor. So with that being said, I'd love to know, like, how did you effectively navigate that space as obviously one of the only black people on the floor? And what did that teach you about relationships as well?
Man, trading floor is a phenomenal environment. Don't take nothing personal, right? You don't realize, but life be life, and you're talking to somebody that might be managing a $100 million book, and they down 10% on the year, and bonuses coming up, and they got 3 mouths to feed, and their bills for education alone for their 2 kids, $100,000 or something. So like you don't, like, learn as much, add as much value, and just enjoy the ride because you're in a phenomenal seat, man. What are you guys trading? What desk?
We're still going through placements right now.
Okay. But you're doing S&T. Yeah, man, enjoy the ride. I think that Goldman's a phenomenal spot. I got a lot of homies that were from there as well. But man, enjoy the ride. I think navigating, once again, find ways to add value. Because at the end of the day, you ask yourself what you're doing. You're getting somebody coffee. You're going around getting, what their levels are. Or, hey, I'm trying to sell this, right? So you walk in, if you're on the trading side, you're talking to the sales team. If you're on the sales team, you're talking to the trade team. They might let you answer the phone, but figure out how to add value, right? Maybe build something. Hey, man, I've been trying to figure out how I can make your morning a little easier. I built this on Claude, right? I should own Claude, Anthropic, or the ChatGPT too, whatever. But just find ways to add value. That's the number one thing.
Thank you.
I can just talk, I guess. But hi, my name is 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐜𝐫𝐢𝐛𝐬𝐜. I go to the University of Pittsburgh, and I'm going to be working at JP Morgan this summer. I guess my question for you is that you talked about climbing the ladder, and then you jumped off the ladder to do a lot of different things. So how do you go about being multifaceted and then exploring different avenues in your career?
I can't jump off the ladder no more. I'm a little older. I might pull something. But how do I be multifaceted? It's just kind of who I am, right? I was selling candy on the school bus in 3rd grade. Until that one teacher was hating on me, asked, was it for, is this for some type of, what'd she say to me? It don't matter. Long story short, I've always been an entrepreneur. But what I will say, I think, is just finding ways to see where the world is going, right? Like, you guys heard the saying about hockey. It's like you skate to where the puck is going, not to where it was. And I think that's where we are. You guys are in such an interesting seat right now, bro. Like, this AI stuff is insane. We're going to be in space. It's going to be, bro, we're in such an interesting world where I think when you think about where you want to go, you can do it. There's no barrier to entry in nothing anymore. Right? I remember when the reason I got interested in investing is when I went to Penn, right? I'm a Southside Chicago kid. There was a kid in my econ 101 class, day trading in the middle of class. Bro, what are you doing? Instantly, this 2008, this the big recession, right? I instantly go home. Hey, I'm start investing as well. But when you think about where we are, there's no barrier to entry of anything. You want to create a dating app, you could do it in less than 30 minutes with a prompt of 150 words, if it's going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, there's no barrier to anything. And so I think about staying multifaceted is just consuming as much information and continuing to stay thirsty. That's the one thing. If I could go back, I think I got comfortable too, right? It might not sound like it, but I got comfortable when I was at Morgan Stanley because I'm like, oh, I made it, right? Oh, this is the next best thing to going to the league. I thought I was going to go to the league for some reason too. But that's really something that's interesting is like, there's no barrier to entry for nothing. And that's for everybody. Like, anything y'all want to do is so easy to do right now, bro. It's just what you spend your time on and what you consume. If you own a shade room all day, then you're probably losing, a few of your IQ points. But outside of that, like, it's what you consume. It looked like last question. I don't know. Blurt it out. Whoever's the loudest. Okay. Go, Chloe, come on.
I'm a sophomore at USC. I'm from Chicago too, so I thought your project, the Obama Center, sounded really cool, and I was interested in what you think about giving back to your community and like what are the best ways to do it, especially in times right now.
I love that. So for me, I find this near and dear, right? I don't think I told you guys why I ended up going down the path, right? I was young pup. I won't say young because now I'm like 4 or 5 years in the game at this hedge fund. And we looked at all kind of more uncorrelated strategies, right? From catastrophe bonds, right? A portfolio of literally, as long as Hurricane Katrina don't happen, the portfolio makes money, right? But then there was a specialty finance company where they owned I won't even tell you what they owned. On paper, it was phenomenal. I couldn't wait to go back to the IC like, oh yeah, this lit. They make 20% non-correlated returns annually, man. when you start peeling back the layers, they own a portfolio of payday loans, cash advance loans, where they're preying on black and brown people effectively, right? And so that was my aha moment. I'm like, wow, a lot of people that look like us aren't in the same rooms. Remember, the one thing I said, exposure is the greatest teacher, right? It determines kind of where you're gonna go. And a lot of people that look like us at the time aren't exposed to where I was. And so what I ended up doing was my content was bringing it to where people are. Everybody and their mama on their phone. Y'all on your phone now, on the toilet, when you wake up, and when you go to sleep, you're on your phone, right? Now let me be on your phone. Let me give you some information that you definitely need. Oh man, you know, pay off that credit card. And so the idea of how I look at giving back is, one, you don't need to be, you know, Robert F. Smith and pay off everybody's student loans, right? Everybody has their ability to give back in some way, whether it's just talking to a relative or to your friend group about investing, right? I'm telling people with kids, hey, get a 529 plan. And so for me, I have a foundation, and the ultimate goal is I want kids from the inner cities to argue the same way they argue about who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan or Steph Curry and KD. What's a better company, NVIDIA or Tesla or Microsoft or this? And so that's that. My dog, I know you had a question, so we'll get it. The guy before me went over, so I'll go over a little bit.
My name is Micah Allen. I'm at Indiana University.
IU, Midwest. And y'all won it all on the football side. You went to the games?
National champs.
You went to the games?
No, I went to the Peach Bowl though.
Okay.
So
That's dope.
but my question was, when did you know it was time to leave corporate America, and what factors influenced that decision?
Never a right time. You guys are all analytical by definition because you're here, right? I think there's a percentage saying, if I can make this amount of money as an entrepreneur, I never recommend leaving until you got something, right? I was gonna say a funny joke, but I don't know if it's a good one. To me, it was hilarious, right? Because you don't quit until you already got something in the back burner, right? It's gonna be a dating reference. If you kind of go, I was going, right? It's a mathematical problem where you're literally saying, if I can make this percentage of my income, say 50% of my income, 60% of my income, while not dedicating 100% of my time to it, then imagine what I'll do if I put 100% of my time to it. And that's how I look at it. Once again, they didn't bring me here to tell y'all to be entrepreneurs and not, work, right? That's not what this is. But I think we're in a world where a lot of people have different passions and career things that they're interested in, right? Like, you look now, 10 years ago, this didn't exist, but streaming. Streaming is when I go talk to little kids now, they want to be YouTubers, streamers, right? Twitchers, and I don't even know how to get on Twitch, right? But, and so I think that there are a ton of new avenues, and I think that anybody that was ever considering, oh, I want to do entrepreneurship, yeah, you can, but do it on the side. Because once again, you want to have the foundation to even know how to be a good entrepreneur, right? A person that's on Instagram, I ain't no good entrepreneur. Like, I hate when a person say, oh, I didn't want to work corporate. Because you couldn't, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You could not work corporate. Like, you guys are once again, you're at a completely different wavelength of all these other people. So, I think a lot of this stuff can come easy. It's just a function of saying, if you want to do that. Last question. What's up, baby? You scared? What's happening? I know you trying to go to Dave and Buster's. Talk to me. I'm good, bro. How you?
My name is 𝐿. I come from Towson University, and I'm interning at JP Morgan this summer.
Hey, JP in here.
I wanted to ask, so if you were in college today, what are some ways that you would try to build passive income, and also what are some ways, I forgot the second part of my question, but.
Keep the mic, and you'll have it after. Bro, if I could leave, if I was in college right now, I swear on my kids, I wouldn't leave without a job. I mean, without a business. They did an amazing thing at college, but I probably was trying to go party, tweaking. They did something where there was a class where Wharton kids, so the business school kids, with our engineers, and we had to come up with an idea, right? And I used to come up with these crazy dope ideas, but it's like the barrier is like, I need my engineer to build it, right? Now, you come up with any idea. So the idea of how could you, gun to my head right now, you could just have you could have a business where you're telling kids how to get an internship, or you're telling kids how to get an SEO, right? It could be an ebook, and you market it to parents. But, right, when you're thinking about it, like this gun in my head, I don't know, right? I would want a real business, but like passive, you could have a low ticket item, but the idea is helping kids because you work in a JP, right? Oh, I'm a JP Morgan intern, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Boom, you can monetize that. How did you become that? Oh, you can have an ebook. If anybody got an ebook and y'all do it, I'm bad, just off the strength. Let's go. Oh, did you get your second part of your question?
Yeah, it was just how to prepare for like entrepreneurship and like know you want to do it like once you get out of college.
How to prepare for entrepreneurship? Have 6 months of your necessary expenses saved. And honestly, guys, I can't do any more questions. I got that. If this was like the awards, they would have been played the music by now. I got a sign in the back like, bro, wrap this up, dog. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ross Mack. I love y'all. Follow me on social. Follow me. Oh, they didn't cut my mic. Follow me on social at I'm Ross Mack. Now I got my mic cut. Follow me at social at I'm Ross Mack. It's awesome.
Thank you. All right, how are we feeling? End of the day, end of first day, we're good? All right, cool. All right, so a couple of closing announcements. So first one, join us at Dave & Buster's today.